55. If mind is cause of the later moments of the mind, the same absurdity follows, you maintain. Okay, now the opponents. This is again the follow-up of the discussion, earlier discussion. Say the Acharya Dharmakirti is saying that if body is the only cause of the mind, there is no preceding mind necessary. If it is only the mind is produced from the body, meaning that you get your body from your parents and then the mind comes out of that. If this is what you say, then when the body dies, when the body should never die. The body is always there. When the body is there, the mind comes the next moment. When the mind comes next moment, the body accompanying that is living. Again, that body will give rise to the next mind. Next mind, the body accompanying that body, the mind is living. So that way we see that there should be no death happening. And then what we call as a death, it should not be a death. So this contradiction. Now the opponents, those who reject rebirth, they throw the same debate, turn the table, same the debate on the Acharya Dharmakirti, saying that if mind is the cause of the later moments of the mind, the same absurdity which you throw on me follows, saying that the last moment of the mind, it will continue the next moment of the mind. So there's no death. If mind is the cause of later moments of the mind, the same absurdity where there's mind, there's no death. So the mind continues. Because this mind, the last moment of the mind, will give rise to the next moment of the mind and next moment of the body. Because the mind is the one which determines the body, not the body determining the mind. Same absurdity follows, you maintain. It is not the same, now Acharya Dharmakirti responding. It is not the same for the reason that the other projecting karma is a cause for the body and the mind to coexist. Okay, they are true. So now, these involve the nuances. Nuances involved. What nuances? One, the mind giving rise to the next moment of the mind. One. The mind giving rise to the next moment of the mind. Number one. Number two, the mind and the body coexisting. Two things. You're getting it. For example, in our case, yesterday's mind, today's mind. Today's mind is the continuation of the yesterday's mind. Number one. So meanwhile, today's mind is in the accompaniment of the today's body. Today's body and the today's mind, they coexist. So today's mind is because of yesterday's mind, and why this today's mind coexists with the body is because of the karma. Like the two passengers in the boat. So the moment you get into the boat and the boat sails till it gets to the end, you are not to be separated. You'll go together. Likewise, the body and mind, they are thrown together, projected together, until the death. This will go together because of the previous karma. Okay, so another thing that we need to keep in mind is that when you speak about the previous karma, the people have very naive understanding of karma. Very naive understanding of karma, because of which it is as though like some people they say that, okay, this is not happening because God did not really want that for me. Blame the God. Likewise, the people who believe in karma, they blame the karma. Right? So the concept of karma becomes so naive, it becomes very abstract, and it doesn't really make sense. No, the karma label came from Sanskrit. The meaning is the action and the effect. This is what the physics operate, how the physics operate. This is how neuroscience operates. And then the geology and the environmental science and medicine, everything operates on the basis of cause-effect relationship. Everything is governed, everything is studied, everything is designed on the basis of the cause-effect relationship. So this cause is what we call the action, the karma. So the karma, as because of the naivety in the people's understanding of karma, then People simply blame to karma. So the moment this word karma comes, okay, again it's blind faith. No, it's not a blind faith. Karma simply means actions, that's it. Okay, so because the people interpret it very wrongly, people understand it in a very naive way, therefore the moment the word karma comes in a mind psychologically, something to do with blind faith. Okay, this is where we need to be a little careful to change up. There should be a shift in our understanding of what a karma is, where automatically the karma means something again very naive in a dark place. We don't know what is grabbing in the dark. No, it's not like that. So the karma means action. Karma means action. Action determines the effect. Okay, this is what we need to keep in mind. So in other words, the fact that body and mind, these two always together as long as we live, this is because of the previous karma. Is this because of the previous karma? Okay. So our mind connects to the next point. This mental consciousness is responsible for connecting to the mental consciousness. And this mental consciousness is in the accompaniment of the body because of this mind or because of previous karma? Because of previous karma. We should not be mixing these two up. Simply because the mind is there, the mind comes with the body. This is not the case. So as long as this mind continues, this body should also continue. Then this is the absurdity. So this is how the opponents see the absurdity. Where the mind is, the body should where the mind, this mind gives right, this mind is with the body. Okay, yesterday did you have a body? Yesterday? Okay, you're tired, I know. 2 hours in the morning. Okay, yesterday you had the body. Yesterday you had the mind. So today's mind is the substantial result of yesterday's mind. And today's mind is the cooperative result of the yesterday's body. Right? So we get the impression that yesterday's mind, because this was with the body, and this mind continues to today's mind, and the body comes down. So where this mind is, this body should also come down. This is the impression that we get. This opponents feels that way. Whereas Acharya Dharmakirti, when he said, body is there, mind is there. Because for them, body is the sole cause of the mind. So where the body is there, the mind should be there. So this absurdity rightly fits in them. Because where the body is there, the mind should be there. Because mind is this body is the cause, the primary cause of the unique, indispensable cause of this mind. Now where the body is, where the body goes, this mind comes. Where the mind is there, the body simultaneously is there. Again the body goes there, this gives rise to next mind. Next mind, along with that, there's the body. So it goes endlessly. So there should be no death. Whereas for Acharya Dharmakirti, this absurdity doesn't fall. Because Acharya Dharmakirti is not saying that this mind and the body together, this mind is the cause of this body. No, this is not what Acharya Dharmakirti is saying. What Acharya Dharmakirti is saying is that this mind staying together with the body is not because of this mind, because of the previous mind, previous karma. That is responsible for these two to go together. So when this karma exhausts, then these two will be separated. The mind will not disappear. Mind will continue. The body will be left behind. So this is, look, if we don't see the nuance, then the opponents, how they turn the table and throw the absurdity on you, then we get stuck. Okay, 55 once more. If mind is the cause, this is the opponent's view. Okay, you can write opponent. Oh, it's said there, you maintain. If mind is the cause of the later moments of the mind, the same absurdity. Which absurdity? Where the mind is there, the body should be there. Which means, even at the time of the dead body, there should be no death. Because the previous moment, before the death was the mind there. So this mind should give rise to the next mind. Next mind and the mind, the corresponding body should be there. So if that body is with the mind, that is not a dead body. Okay, this is the opponent's rejection. Acharya Dharmakirti responded by saying, it is not the same. For the reason that, so there we are not saying that the body and the mind together coexisting. The two coexisting, the coexisting body and the mind, that body is not created by this mind. So the two coexist because of the previous karma, not because of this mind. 56. If you say, like a wood which does not catch fire due to a spell cast upon it, the body which is made unfit due to discordant factors is not the cause of the mind. Okay, these debates are extremely precious. And I could see that the group here, during the group discussions, I can see that you are really interested there. Otherwise, some people, oh, what is this? Some people I know from many years ago, oh, what is this? All about intellectual. Where is the practice? The wood, then the body, and then later on will come across what? The gold, then the fire. And so where's the practice? Okay. Practice is to be done in your mind. The practice is a very sophisticated practice. The mind should be very sophisticated. How can a dull mind do a sophisticated practice? Sophisticated practice which requires more intelligence than the professors in physics. Physics professors, their mind is intelligent. The Buddha's mind is even more intelligent. You are saying that I want to become Buddha with a very dull mind. So therefore, we have to build a mind, to make a mind very active, very fresh. So in fact, you wouldn't believe, very sensible practitioners, for example, the various traditions, Sakya, Kagyu, Nyingma, Gyuru, whatever, even including Sakya, the Nyingma and Gyuru, Nyingma and Kagyu, very sensible teachers. When they see somebody young and who's very intelligent and who studies a lot, they have a very profound admiration. I remember there's one teacher, incredibly wonderful, I would say the great saint from Kagyu. And I was just a beginner, the second year of my studies. And then the Rinpoche, he is a great teacher. And the Rinpoche, they said, when I was there for about like a few days, and then when I left, then I went for an audience with him. I was just in my like 20 or 21. And the Rinpoche gave me in an envelope, I think, some money as a gift. And then I said, no, you should be offer something to the teacher. I said, no, please. He said, no, you are studying, which is so precious. So therefore, it is our admiration for what you're doing. This is what he said. It's so touching. This is how the wise people, they see the value of the studies. So where somebody not valuing the studies, finish, it's just, you can see through your own experience. Say, when you study well, then what's the quality of your practice? Earlier, without the study, what's the quality of your practice? You can see the stark contrast in the quality of your practice. Okay, so with this, 56 once more. If you say like a wood which does not catch fire due to spell cast upon it, for example, say it says that say the wood, if you burn it, it burns. But then sometimes if you cast a spell on this, meaning cast some mantras and so forth, then even if you burn it, it doesn't burn. Even if you burn it, it doesn't burn. Because the factor for that to be burned, that is removed by the spell. Okay. If you say like a wood which does not catch fire due to spell cast upon it, the body which is made unfit due to discordant factors is not the cause of the mind. So what they say is that likewise, when death happens to the body, so this death, the body is like the wood, and they're casting spell or casting mantra or the spell, whatever, that is like the death. The spell, once the spell is cast, then this wood will not catch any fire. Likewise, the death happens, the body will not revive, which means the body will not have the mind. Right? So the death is one which will make the body not to have the mind. So therefore it will not have the mind again. The body which is made unfit due to discordant factors is not the cause of the mind. Okay, so death happens, And why the death happens? Because of the discordant factors. What discordant factors? Ailments. Ailments. Disease. Disease. For example, in the Tibetan tradition and in Ayurveda tradition, there are three principal, they call is the femur, or they call is the defects. Defects. Lung, Ti, Pegen. Lung means the wind. Ti is the bile. They don't want to translate it as bile, but then loosely it is bile. Then Pegen, this is even they don't really translate it. So in Sanskrit, in Sanskrit, how do you say it? Vata, Pitta, Kapha. Okay. So these three defects, they call it defects. These three compose the body. When these three are in balance, they will balance each other. They cannot affect the body as much. So therefore we say that I'm healthy. The moment any of these three become more dominant, and others are more dormant, then the illness comes into being. Illness of the wind, illness of the bile, and the illness of the water. So these illnesses come. So these illnesses, they come to you, and then the person dies. So this death, from this death, the person will not overcome. They come back reverse because of the discordant factors. They are like the spell of the spell. Once the wood is cast, the spell is cast on the wood will not catch fire. Right? Okay. So they say that even though the body is there, but the mind will not come. Mind will not come because of the discordant factors. They made sure that the mind doesn't come. This is like this spell cast, although the wood is to burn. The job of the wood is when it comes with the flame, the wood burns. But then when cast with this special condition, when the spell is cast, then wood doesn't catch fire. Okay, can you imagine such wood? Can you imagine a wood, the normal wood, which can easily catch fire? When you cast a spell on this or some magical spell on this, then the wood does not catch fire. Can you imagine such things? Can you imagine? Yes, raise your hands. I'm not too sure, raise your hands. Okay, some people they raise their hands twice. Okay, I'm not too sure, raise your hands. Okay, nowadays you don't really need the magical spell. It's very, with this scientific technology, right? The woods, they're exposed to some chemicals. Some chemicals, you put in fire, they will not burn. The woods, otherwise they will get rotten within like 2 years underwater. Now you treat this with the chemicals, it can survive for 100 years. You don't need those, the magical spells nowadays. The science is there. Okay, don't say, I'm not sure. If you are not sure, you have to be exposed to science. Yeah, it's very easy nowadays. Okay. So Acharya Dharmakirti, death undermines the discordant factors. The person should absurdly come back to life. Acharya Dharmakirti says that no, these two examples, their example does not fit with the death, because the magical spell cast on the wood, okay, wood may stop catching fire. That's fine, but the death should not be that factor. Death, what is death? Death means because of the ailments, the mind and the body, these are separated. In other words, this is death. Because of these ailments, the mind and the body, these two are separated. Okay. So, and why this death happens? Why it happened? Because of the three defects. One of the defects override the other two. One of the defects or the two defects override them. They are not in balance. That is what created the death. So this balance, we can recreate the balance. Where the three defects. Three defects means three components. Technically they call it defects. These three components which constitute the body, what are they? Wind, bile, and the water. Okay. So these three components, when not in balance, then you become sick. And in acute case, you die. So what is the cause of death? Because of the imbalance between these three components. And what is imbalance, you can create the balance. Once the balance is created, the life should come back. Right? Okay. So it says, Acharya Dharmakirti, death undermines the discordant factors. So we can create the balance. We can create the balance how? These three components, they are actively there. One or two is more active than the others. When the death happens, all these three will become inactive. They're in balance. Yes, no? When the death happens, these three components all become inactive. And they're balanced. No one factor is dominating over the other. So they're in balance. So the life should come back. Okay. Death undermines the discordant factor. Death undermines the imbalance of the three components. The person should absurdly come back to life again. 57. It is like the change in wood after, okay, this is amazing. So the opponents also, they are not, very easy. They'll again come with a different example. Okay, they come with the example. Say that then the wood, again another example, the wood. When you burn it, the wood is burned. It becomes ash. Nobody can make the ash back to wood. Right? Nobody can bring the ash back to wood. When the death happens, it will not revert. It will not reverse. Life will not reverse. Because it is like the wood burned. It will never come back. Okay. 57. It is like the changes to wood, not reverting, meaning the wood after being burned. After being burned, then the ashes will not come back to become the wood again. Even if the fire is reverted, same, the fire burns it and the wood becomes ash. Then you extinguish the fire. Now the factor which made the wood to become ash, that factor, what is that factor? The fire. Now you extinguish the fire, then the wood will come back. The ashes will come back to wood. No, it will not happen. Even if the fire is extinguished, the ashes will not come back to wood. So likewise, even if the death happens, right? Death happens, no matter what, even if you make the balance, the three components balance, the life will not come back. It is like the wood. It is like the wood burned, and the fire, when you extinguish the fire was responsible for the wood to burn. Right? So when you remove the fire, the ash will not come back to wood. Because once that is done. Even if the factor for creating the ash, the fire is extinguished, the ash will not come back to the wood. So likewise, with the death, even if you create the three components balance, the life will not come back. It is like the ashes not coming back to wood. 57. It is like the change to wood, meaning becoming ash, after being burned, not reverting back to wood, even if the fire is reverted, even if the fire is extinguished. Thus, life is not reverted. Life doesn't come back. Okay, this you may maintain. This is their position. Now, Acharya Dharmakirti, it is not so, as there exist the practices to heal the illnesses. Acharya Dharmakirti says that this example does not fit with what we are talking about. The life should come back because the imbalance in a body, for example, if somebody becomes sick, what is the factor? The three components become imbalanced. Then you give the medicines and the three components are being balanced, made to balance, and then illness disappears, becomes normal, back to normal. So which means that it is the illness which kills the person, and illness can be fixed, so the person should come back. Okay, your example doesn't fit here. Okay, 58. Then Acharya Dharmakirti continues, saying that there are two things. So he gave the example. The example is very convincing, right? Example, is that convincing? Either you are tired or you are very blindly following Acharya Dharmakirti. Example is convincing. What he said is that wood, once burnt, the factor for the wood not to remain as a wood? What is that factor? The fire. Okay, let's say the gold. Example going to be given later on is the gold. The gold, what is that factor which makes the gold liquid? Fire. You expose the gold to the fire, the solid gold will become liquid. Remove the fire, the liquid gold will become solid again. You getting it? Okay, so there are two examples. Wood made into ash by fire. The solid gold made into liquid by fire. You getting it? Now, with the first example, you remove the fire, the ash will not become wood. But when in the second example, the solid gold become liquid, remove the fire, the liquid will become solid again, will revert. So there are two things. So in the case of the person, say the dying, if your previous karma is not responsible, if it's just the body which is responsible for this mind to exist, then it should fit with the example of the gold, liquid gold becoming the gold when the fire is extinguished. Not the wood example. Wood example does not fit there. It is the liquid gold turning into solid gold. That example fits in there because why this liquid gold remains as a liquid, not as a solid? Because the fire is constantly there. Fix the cause. By removing the cause, then the liquid will go back to become solid. Likewise, what makes the person ill? Because of the three components become imbalance. Fix that imbalance and make it balance. The person will become well again. So therefore, in this case, the second example, the gold example fits in there, not the wood example. 58. Some non-reversible objects. There are some reversible objects, some non-reversible objects. Non-reversible object like what? Example? Non-reversible object after the change. For example, the wood becoming an ash. And then the reversible objects. For example, okay, let's say solid gold becoming liquid gold. Liquid gold, right, becoming solid again. Okay, otherwise if you say gold, okay, the gold becomes silver, silver again becomes gold. Don't just say gold, say the liquid gold, going back to solid gold. 59. Okay, the 58, sorry. Some non-reversible objects undergo changes and not reverse. For example, the wood becoming ash, it will not become wood again. Whereas some reverse after undergoing changes. Wood and the gold are respectively the examples. Wood is the example for the first one, and the gold is the example for the second. The gold, solid gold, becoming liquid, and then reversing back to solid gold. 59. Some changes, even though small, do not reverse. Those reversible when undergo change, the original returns. It is like the hardness of the gold. Okay, this way done. Then the opponents, they come up with again a debate. Saying, if that is the case, then what about, you don't believe in a terminal illness? The opponents, they are arguing against Acharya Dharmakirti, saying that, do you believe in terminal illness? The conventional world believes in terminal illness. Okay, how many of you know that there is something called terminal illness? What is terminal illness? Incurable illness. Okay, so there's incurable illness, right? Incurable illness. So, don't you believe in that? So, if from your point of view, the three components, when the imbalance is fixed, then they should return. So, there should be no incurable disease. Opponents argue. 60. Some illnesses are said to be slightly not curable. Why? Either it is due to difficulty in finding a healer, finding a doctor, or nowadays finding a good doctor, or due to exhaustion of lifespan. Exhaustion of lifespan means what? Exhaustion of lifespan is what? Okay, yes, this is death. Okay, so what creates the lifespan? Yes, your previous karma. So whereas for them, this is primarily the opponents, they are the Charvakas, who don't believe in rebirth. Charvakas. There's one philosophical tradition known as Charvakas. Charvaka. Now, in Tibetan is Gyangpemba. Gyangpemba. In Tibetan. In Sanskrit, it is Charvaka. They don't believe in rebirth. They say the body, whatever you have is just the body. The body gives rise to mind, that's it. When the body dies, finish. Right? Okay. This is really a tradition which actually existed. And there are many followers. And today, the tradition exists, the modern science is like that. Yeah. Most of the modern scientists and who believe in this. Of course, science has nothing wrong in it. Only things that when you go to one extreme, saying that what you see, seeing is believing. The moment you say that, this is not the scientific perspective. This is not scientific perspective. For example, physics should not claim that we know the whole universe. Physics does not know neuroscience. Don't forget it. Neuroscientists should not think that we know everything. They don't know physics. This we have to keep in mind. So therefore, science is not a complete system. Yet it is a rigorous system. It is a rigorous system. We have to admit that. And yet it is not a complete. For example, who is the one who is the authority in physics as well as chemistry, as well as biology, as well as neuroscience? No one. Right? When somebody is good in physics, that's it. He or she will be just involved in the physics, the research, and those in the neuroscience, they are just involved in neuroscience, that's it. Which people get a very false illusion, false thinking that science explains everything. Okay, so with this, lifespan. Okay, Charvakas, they don't believe in. Earlier, they were the Charvakas. Nowadays, many of the scientists who are a little rigid, who are not really open to listening to the other presentations. And some who are very open, but they don't go out. They're always within their own ghettos, because of which they don't get exposed to the people who speak about what is beyond the scientific research. Okay. So, whereas Acharya Dharmakirti can explain this so well, say, illness, if the previous karma is not responsible, then the illness, there should be no terminal illness. If previous karma is not responsible, there should be no terminal illness. Because then the death, illness, everything is happening purely because of the imbalance of the three components. And the imbalance can be fixed, and there's no other factor. Whereas Acharya Dharmakirti says that imbalance is there, and the other factor is there, which is the previous karma. And previous karma can exhaust. The moment it exhausts, imbalance automatically creates, and it cannot be fixed. When the previous karma exhausts, then the energy is gone. For example, say like the driving car, and when the fuel exhausts, the car gets stuck there. Car will not move anymore because the fuel is finished. The fuel is the previous karma. Whereas if you don't believe in the previous karma, if it's just this life, then you have to explain everything on the basis of the three components. And if the three components can be fixed, there should be no death. But whereas Acharya Dharmakirti accepts the three components plus the previous karma. Okay. 60 once more. Some illnesses are said to be slightly not curable. Either it is due to difficulty in finding a healer or due to exhaustion of lifespan. Okay, just for information, these are the additional information helpful. Arhats, some of them, what they do is that they gain command over the merits. Okay, and the merits the merits are of two kinds. Merits for your longevity, for your life, and the merits for your wealth, resources, too. Merits for the resources and the merits for your life. How these merits determine our wealth, they determine the wealth, we have no control. Because we are so weak. It is all controlled by a mind. We don't have the training in our mind. Whereas arahats, they have an incredibly great training of the mind, to the extent that the training of the mind pertaining to the meditative concentration. To the extent that if they feel the need for them to live longer, like 100 years, 200 years, or so forth, what they do is they convert the merit meant for the wealth to the merit meant for the longevity. This is what they convert. Right? So therefore, this merit was accumulated in the past. So as Charvakas, they don't believe in the past. So they have to account everything on the basis of the body. Okay, so this is just extra information. 21, the first line. If the fault of illness, meaning these three components. Okay, the Pavanila, what are the three components in Sanskrit? Pitta, Vata, Pitta, Kapha. Vata, Pitta, Kapha. In Tibetan, Lung, Ti, Pekin. Lung, L-O-O-N-G, Lung, L-O-O-N-G, Lung, Tripa, T-R-I-P-A, Tripa, Pekin, B-H-A-Y-K-E-N, B-H-A-Y-K-E-N, Pekin, Lung, Tripa, Pekin, or Lung, Ti, Pekin. Tripa, T, same, T is the short form of Tripa, Lung, Ti, Pekin. L-O-O-N-G, Lung, Tripa, or T, T-R-I, T. If you want P, then P-A, Tripa, Pekin, B-H-A-Y-K-E-N. Lung, Ti, Pekin, Lung, Tripa, Pekin. Okay. And the Vata, then Pitta, Kapha. Vata, yeah, Pavanila, spell something. Slowly. Yes. V-A-T-A.
Pitta, P-I-T-T-A. And Kapha, K-A-P-H-A. Kapha.
Thank you. Yes.
Tripa is due to bowel disease.
Okay. Tripa is related, very closely related to bile, yes. Okay. If the fault, page 21, line 1. If the fault of illness meaning these three factors, Lung, Tripa, Pekin, these three factors alone is the cause of death, there should be no non-curable illness. All illnesses should be curable. If this is the only reason, if there's no the karmic factors involved, so as I said earlier, say the body and the mind, these two are together because of the previous karma. And the mind giving rise to the next moment of the mind is because of the law of nature. So we are not to mix the two things up. The mental consciousness giving rise to the next mental consciousness. Atom giving rise to the next moment of the atom. It's the law of karma, the law of nature. This is a natural law. And then the body and the mind sitting together, being together, coexisting, it's not because of the law of nature, it's because of the karma. So when the karma exhausts, for example, let's say, okay, let's say that the fans there, these fans are standing in the air, right? Standing in the air or being supported by something. Supported by something. So that support, is that permanently there? No, it is also changing. It is also changing. When that support breaks, automatically the fan will fall. Can you imagine that? Why I'm saying this is because it happened in Tibet house. Yeah. One fan exactly like this fan in the main teaching hall. One day I went to the hall and the fan was like this, dangling. I thought, what happened? Again, one of the staff broke it with negligence. Then I realized that I looked at it, it is more like a natural thing, breakage, not because of the deliberate breakage or negligence. It was because of the lifespan gone. Yeah. So it is energy there. It's energy there to hold it. When this energy is gone, when the energy exhausts, finish, it breaks. Likewise, there's energy which holds the body and mind together. That energy is known as the previous karma, previous karmic energy. For example, if it's human birth, then the positive karma, that is holding. That energy has the energy to survive, hold your body and mind for the next 80 years, 90 years, or 100, maximum today like 110 or 115, that's it. And then that energy exhausts, separates, body and mind separates. So it's not because of the mind per se, it's because of the previous karmic energy. Okay. So whereas if it is purely the three factors, not because of the previous karma, then there should be no non-curable illness. 6-1. Why not the death reversed to life by becoming freed of the causes for changes? Okay, they free of the causes by becoming free of the causes for change. What is the change? Change is the death. What's the cause of the change? Because of the three factors imbalance. If it is purely the body, no previous karma responsible. If it's purely the body, you can fix it, and the body should come back. Why not the death reverse to life by becoming freed of the causes for change? When the poison, for example, when the poison which kills is removed by mantra or through cutting the bitten piece, then it should come back. If the previous karma is not responsible. Right? Previous karma is the main factor. Then the immediate condition is, okay, meeting with a snake bite, or what? The poison, okay, poison, or the poison, or so whatever factors, like the three components becoming imbalance, or the snake bite, whatever. So we can remove this and they should come back. The life should come back. But it's not just that. There's the main factor. Main factor is the previous karma. So with the previous karma, when it exhausts, when the previous karma cannot sustain you anymore, then any of the other factors can kill us. In some cases, let's say somebody has pricked by a thorn. This can be a factor to die. Right? Someone just fall from the stair. One step, one falls, person dies. Some people, they fall from 3 stories, still they don't die. Right? It is not purely the external. If it's just purely the external, then you fall from 1 step, you die, guarantee you die from 3 floors. But it doesn't happen. So which means there's the third factor. There is the previous karma. Okay, reference number 45. Delineating the definition of substantial cause. Okay, earlier we talked about what? The unique indispensable cause. Unique indispensable cause has the 2 divisions. Cooperative unique indispensable cause and the substantial unique indispensable cause. So what is the substantial cause? Which is so important. For example, when we are talking about the rebirth, when we're talking about the rebirth, is primarily talking about the mental consciousness. For the mental consciousness, pertain to mental consciousness, the substantial cause, the unique indispensable cause for the mental consciousness is primarily the substantial cause of the mental consciousness. Okay, tell me, we have a mental consciousness now. What is the substantial cause of this mental consciousness that we have? The previous mental consciousness. Okay, let's not forget that. So with this, to define what a substantial cause is very important. Okay, tell me, can you give me some example, one or two examples of substantial cause? Anyone? Anyone? Can you, just some examples? Pavanila? Okay, Vandana. One example. When you give examples, you should keep in mind, don't just say the flower, right? Say the seed is a substantial cause for the flower. Or the mango seed is a substantial cause for the mango tree. Like this. Cause and the effect. Both should be mentioned. Yes, Vandana. Okay. Or the fire is the substantial cause of the ash. Or the wood is the substantial cause for the ash. The fire, does it become the ash or the wood becomes the ash? Okay, wood is the substantial cause for the ash. Very good. Anyone else? Pavanila? Pavanila?
Water is a substantial cause for ice.
Okay, water. Water is the substantial cause for ice. Okay.
Ice.
This water is the substantial cause of the 100 years old ice. No.
The same ice being put in the freezer.
Okay,
Same
so therefore we need to articulate, right? Water substantial ice means this water is the substantial cause of the ice which was 100 years ago, 1000 years ago. So substantial cause means the cause should be first, effect should be later, right? So we should be very clear that this water, okay, let's say the water which was the water A was the substantial cause of the ice after putting the water in the freezer, right? Okay. Yes, Moila.
Gold, the gold that make the golden statue of a Buddha is a substantial cause of the golden statue of the Buddha.
Okay, say it again. Golden statue. First moment of the golden statue of the Buddha is the substantial cause of the second moment of the golden statue of the Buddha. Is what you're saying?
No, I say the gold in the goldsmith's hand is the substantial cause of the golden statue of a Buddha.
Okay, the raw gold is the substantial cause of this raw gold when changed into the gold Buddha statue. This is what he's saying. Beautiful, it's amazing, wonderful. Anyone else? Kim?
The singularity is a substantial cause of solar system.
Okay, the singularity of the Big Bang is the substantial cause of the solar system. Okay, good. Anyone else? Yes, Changjula?
Let me see. The mind focusing on the recitation of a mantra now is a substantial cause for merit.
Okay. Okay, the mind reciting the mantra with anger is the substantial cause of the merit accumulation.
How did you know my mind?
The mind reciting the mantra with bodhicitta spirit is the substantial cause of the future accumulation merit.
Yes.
Okay, good. I thought that any mantra recitation. Okay, anyone else? Okay, my next question. Just say correct, not correct. Apple seed. Yesterday's apple seed is the yesterday's apple seed is the substantial cause of the apple tree which grew from this apple seed. Yes? No? Correct, not correct? Louder. Okay. The water which was used yesterday for the seed to germinate is the substantial cause of the apple tree growing out of that today. No. Why not? Very quick. Quick. Raise your hand. Raise your hand. Yes, over there.
The water does not become the apple tree itself.
Okay, the water does not become the apple tree. Okay, water doesn't become the apple tree. How many agree with Teshan? How many agree with Teshan? Raise your hands. Okay, mostly agree with him. Okay, water doesn't become the apple tree. Okay, the nutrients in the soil are the substantial cause. The nutrients of the soil of that is the substantial cause of that apple tree. Yes, no. No, why not? Huh? The nutrients, they do not become the tree. No, the tree, right? The tree. Okay, let's say this flower, say this is a fake flower, it's not a real flower, plastic flower. So the small plastic or the small plastic for this petal A, the small plastic which is later going to become the petal A, that small plastic, raw plastic, is that the substantial cause of this flower? Yes. Why? Because it becomes the part of the flower, not the flower, right? So flower, is this you just remove this one petal, is that a flower? No, it's not a flower, it's a part of the flower. So if something becomes a part of the whole, should it be the substantial cause? No? Yes, hey, what happens? Huh? No? Okay, then what? Then the whole thing should become the whole thing. Is this what you're saying? Huh? Yes. Okay, Kim, that is if yes, then the seed becomes the whole big flower. No, this whole big flower, seed has only how many grams? Maybe 1 or 2 grams. This flower is like 20 grams. Where the extra gram came from? Extra weight came from where? From the seed or from the soil? The soil. So the seed is not a substantial cause now. Huh?
Provides the structure.
So it should provide the structure. Okay, the otherwise. End up become the big one. So 2 kg become, the 2 gram become like 20 gram. No. 2 gram is just 2 gram. Addition of 18 gram came from where? Okay, 2 gram transforms into 20 gram, which means it defies the law of nature. Right? No additional, the ingredients, particles can be created.
No, they are still causes, but they're not the substantial cause.
Which one?
Water, soil, and nutrients, they're still causes.
Even the seed is also not the substantial cause.
No, the seed is the substantial
How? How? Tell me. Huh?
primary.
So this is a unique indispensable. How? Oh, then the unique indispensable cooperative cause, they are also substantial cause. Because they are the unique indispensable cause. Which end? Which end?
I think all of them are causes, all of them become part of the tree. But if you replace this water with some other water, this tree will still come out. But if you replace the seed with another seed, a different tree will come out. Only this seed can become this tree.
Okay, if you replace the apple seed A with the apple seed B, still apple will grow, right?
But it's not the same. It's not the same apple tree.
Then if you replace this water from another water, it's not the same plant, it's not the same tree, because with another water inside.
It's still
Huh?
It's still the same tree because it's
What? It is still what?
with different water. It's still the same tree because it's from the same seed itself.
Okay, with the same water, with the different seed, it's still the same tree because
No.
it's the same water.
No, with a different seed.
Why you are biased with the seed, not with the water? Yes, Yen. You speak through the mic, others can hear.
Because I think when we say substantial cause, it's because it's from that seed, which is the object, it transformed to another thing. Is the substance.
So this water transforms into another thing, right?
No, this seed, not the water. The water is just helping.
The seed is just helping, right?
If just purely water, water will not become the
And
drink.
then if it is purely the seed will not become the water, right? Without water.
But it is a substantial, but they need cooperative cause to make it.
Which one? The seed is cooperative cause.
No, seed is a substantial.
Why the water is cooperative?
Because water is aiding, helping.
Huh?
Is mutually causally dependent.
So the seed also mutually depend with the cause, the water, right?
The seed is, yes.
Yeah, so that is cooperative cause.
So, no, water, but we're talking about a seed transform, we are referring to the tree. So if it's actually from seed to transform to a tree.
Is there anyone logician from past life? Okay, yes, boy.
Can I try? Can I say that it's in the apple seed that one can find only exclusively in the apple seed that one can, find the potential of the future apple tree. And this factor is not present in water, sunlight, and nutrients.
Okay, so this factor which makes the thing to become the tree is absent in the water and other things. Okay, so the point is that we discuss on these areas. The more we discuss on these areas, your mind, the concept of what the substantial cause should be like will become crystal clear. If you don't discuss on these areas, you may get a feeling, I know what is substantial cause. Of course, the seed, not others, right? If somebody drives you deeper, you'll get lost. So the point is that your skill, the clarity, the rigor, we often talk about, say, a concept with the edge, which means very crystal clear concept. That is very important. Emptiness is not like a vague concept. It requires a very crystal clear. It requires a very refined understanding. So this skill must be developed. Okay, very good. Reference page 21, reference number 45. Delineating the definition of the substantial cause. In the absence of changes in the substantial cause, no change will potentially ensue. Say the seed, with the absence of change in the seed, then no change will potentially ensue regarding the growth of the tree. It is like not coming into being a vase in the absence of change in the clay. You have a clay, the clay is the substantial cause of the water or not? No, of the pot or not? The vase, yes. The clay vase. By the way, how do we pronounce it? Vase or vase? Huh? Vase? Thank you. Why I'm checking this is to see how rigid you are. Right? Vase is correct, vase is wrong. Vase is correct, vase is wrong. No, both are correct. It's just language. Both are correct. Right? Okay. Huh? What? We were colonized by the British. Now colonized by America. Today, yeah, globalization all coming from America. Yeah, Americanized. What are those things? I forgot these names. The different cafeterias. What are those? Starbucks. What else? McDonald's. They all come from? They all come from where? US, right? So therefore now we have been colonized by US. Yeah. Okay, Amazon. Okay, let's see. Reference number 45, stanza 62. In the absence of change in the substantial cause, no change will potentially ensue. It is like not coming into being of a vase in the absence of change in the clay. If the clay is there, you keep it as it is, right? No, not give the shape to it, just keep it there. I'm going to make clay, I'm going to make a vase, I'm going to make a vase. Don't bring any effort there. Not putting any effort there, just keep it as clay. It will never become the vase. So this material, they claim is the substantial cause. Whereas you put some effort, it can easily turn into vase. That is the substantial cause. 63. In the absence of change in an object, if some other object changes, for example, say the vase, and then say you have a small cloth lying there, cloth to wipe your hands after making the vase, or when the vase there's little dirt there, when shaping the vase, little dirt or the what do you call it, the unnecessary dirt happened there, then you use the cloth to wipe it. So you keep the cloth there. This cloth is a cause for eventually the vase coming to being. But even if there's no change happening on the cloth, you don't touch the cloth, but you can still carry on with this vase. You give shape to the vase. And you might not have to use the cloth at all, and still the shape will come out. So this cloth, no doubt, without change there, there's change happening on the vase there. So this cloth is not the substantial cause of this vase. In the absence of change in an object, if some other object changes, the former cannot be the substantial cause of the other. It is like ox and non-ox. Ox and non-ox, these two are totally unrelated. 64. The mind and the body are the same as the ox and the non-ox. Now Acharya Dharmakirti is saying that the mind and the body, these two are like the ox and the non-ox. These two have nothing to do with, say, mutually being substantial cause. The body is not at all the substantial cause for the mind, which the Charvakas say that yes, the body is the substantial cause for the mind. Mind comes into being because of the body. Acharya Dharmakirti is saying that this is not true. The resultant mind coexists with the body since it arises from the early moment of the mind as the substantial cause and the early moment of the body as the cooperative cause. They are like the fire and the molten copper. Okay. Say the body and mind. What we have, if they are not acting as substantial cause to one another, then where this mind came from, this life, the mind came from where? Then Acharya Dharmakirti says, for the Charvaka, this is a problem because they don't believe in the former lives. So this mind, it came from the sources, the body. The body came from the parents. That's it. Your mind came from the parents. For Acharya Dharmakirti says that this is not the case. So the mind came from the previous mind. So the previous mind, previous mental consciousness is the substantial cause of the today's mental consciousness. And the previous body, whatever body, for example, okay, this life. So the previous rebirths, so forth, you discuss later on. To give it a very simple example, today we have the body and the mind. So this mind came from where? Yesterday's mind. And yesterday, not only the mind, yesterday's mind was human mind. So why? Because the body is the human body. Body is human body. So these two are mutually dependent. The mind becomes the human mind because of the human body. And that body remains alive because of the mind. So these two are mutually dependent. Now, from these two mutually dependent body and mind, today's body and mind came into being. So today's mind came into being through the substantial cause and the cooperative cause. Today's mind given rise to by the yesterday's mind as the substantial cause and yesterday's body as the cooperative cause. And today's body came into being with yesterday's body as the substantial cause and yesterday's mind as the cooperative cause. This is how the life operates. 64. The mind and the body are the same as the ox and non-ox. The resultant mind coexists with the body. For example, today's mind coexists with the body. This is a result of the yesterday's. Since today's mind arises from the earlier moment of the mind, yesterday's mind as the substantial cause, and the earlier moment of the body as the cooperative cause, they are like the fire and the molten copper. For example, yesterday we brought out some raw copper, very hard raw copper, and then we subject this to the fire. Then this raw copper will become liquid. So the molten copper. So what is the substantial cause of this? earlier raw copper. That was the substantial cause. And how it became liquid is because of the cooperative cause. That is the fire. So the earlier fire was the cooperative cause of today's molten copper, and the earlier raw hard copper was the substantial cause of the today's molten copper. Reference number, okay, they are like the fire and the molten copper. They refer to the body and the mind. They refers to the body and the mind. Reference number 46. Second, rejecting the mind to be the characteristic of the body and simultaneously dependent of the body. Okay, the body and the mind. So what, again, the Charvakas, what they're saying that the body is the dependee and the mind is the dependent. Yet they are simultaneous, dependent and dependee. Now for our information, what we need to know is that if there are two things simultaneous, two things coexisting, and these two are entity-wise separate, entity-wise distinct. Two things entity-wise distinct, simultaneously distinct. Okay, there are two things coexisting, which means simultaneous, and these two are two different entities, distinct entities. Okay, what do you mean by entities, distinct entities? Anybody? Very quick. What do you understand by two distinct entities? Anyone? CJ? What do you mean by two distinct entities?
Means that you go to the object. At the object level, then there are two things instead of being one.
CJ, you have to keep in mind that there are some of the people who are not exposed to Nalanda diploma course. So you have to first give an example and then say.
Apple and orange.
Okay, apple and orange. Apple and orange, these two are two distinct entities. How?
Yes. When I see them, what apple is apple, orange is orange.
Okay. Okay. When I see them, it's orange. That's true. Okay. So the flower and the color of the flower. Are these two entity-wise one or different, CJ? Flower and the color of the flower.
Entity-wise is the same.
Entity-wise the same.
Yes.
But as per you, these should be entity-wise different because I see them as flower and the color of the flower. Okay. Alex now.
So for entity, you look for the reference of the object. Using the labels, you look for the reference of the object. So if they're entity-wise distinct, like in the apple and orange, you refer to two different objects. Whereas for the flower and the color of the flower, although there are two different labels, you are referencing to the same object.
I see. The color of the flower is the flower.
No, they are not.
Because it's the same object?
Based on the subject and object, the mind apprehends the two distinct,
entities?
No, objects.
Two objects.
Two distinct objects, but referencing to the same entity.
Okay, so don't look at me. Find the other people who are not exposed to this concept, they should not be happy. You look at others to see if they are happy. If they are happy, you are correct. Okay, good. Thank you, Alex. Anybody else? What do you understand by entity-wise different or entity distinct entities? Anyone? Man?
You have to. Okay, so for example, if you say where's the orange and where's the apple, you have to point to two different things.
Okay.
Yeah. So then, if it is the flower and the color of the flower, you are pointing to just the flower and the color of the flower there. So it's one object.
Very good. Okay. When you go to point to the object, what Alex said, we'll bring this here, add to what Man said. When you go to point to the reference of the two different labels, orange and the apple, the label orange and label apple, when you go to point to the reference, where's the apple? There. Where's the orange? It's here. We have to point to two different objects to identify. When go to point to the object, we have to point to two different objects for the two different labels, for the identification, the reference of the two different labels. So that is the meaning of the distinct entities. In other words, okay, this is a very important concept. How many of you have learned this concept? Entities and isolates. How many have learned this concept? Okay, how many of you have never learned this concept? Raise your hands. Entities and isolates. Okay, raise your hands. Okay, for a few seconds. Okay, good. And this is extremely important concept. What Man said is, how we should understand it. This is extremely important concept. I'm going to explain this. And later on, okay, so the, okay, from this group, what is this group? This group? Group 1. Where's group 2? There. Where's group 3? Okay. Okay, from group 1, how many of you heard about this concept? Entities and isolates. Okay, Vijan is there, Kim is there. Okay, there, many of you. And from group 2, over there, how many of you heard of this concept? Okay, 1, 2, 3, 4. Okay, many of you heard this. Group 3, where's group 3? Okay, Man is there. Okay, then CJ is there. And Bruce is there, and here the villain is there. Okay, group 4. Group 4, not just group 4, group 4 who heard this concept before. Okay, Shan is there, the Vera is there, okay, here, okay. And the Alex also, group 4. Very good. So in all the 4 groups, we have people who heard this learned this concept before. Now what we do is I'll explain this, and then if you want more clarification, you can discuss in the group, do a group discussion. Okay. This is a very important concept related to understanding emptiness, and how many of you want to how many of you want to achieve the state of fearlessness, no anxiety? Raise hands. Why smiling? Why laughing? Everybody wants that. You want that, there is no way other than to understand emptiness. You have to understand emptiness. So now, okay, if this is the thing, then I will have to understand emptiness. Raise hands. Okay, good. If you have to understand, there's no way other than to understand this concept, entities and isolates. If you don't understand this concept, you will never get a clear-cut crystal clear understanding of emptiness. Without the emptiness understanding, there's no way by which you can reach the state of fearlessness. Okay, so therefore, all these concepts are so precious for us. Now, what is entities? What is isolate? Okay, this is very important. Let's say, how many things are there in my left hand? Nothing is there. Okay, how many things are there in my left hand now? 1. What is that? Flower. Okay. Say, the flower is there. Tell me, is that the color of the flower? Is that the color of flower in my hand? Like, I'll hold like this. Otherwise, you may say that you have just the leaf. Right? Okay, I'll hold like this. Color of the flower is in my hand. Flower is also in my hand. The flower and the color of flower, are these two one? Louder. Color of the flower and the flower, these two one or different? These two one. So the color of the flower is a flower. Shape of the flower is also flower. Shape of the flower and the color of the flower, these two are one. Shape of the flower, is it in my hand? Shape of the flower, is it in my hand? Color of the flower, is it in my hand? Are these two one or different? Shape of the flower and the color of the flower, are these two one or different? No, I'm asking one or different. They don't ask you one entity. Be a good listener. Are these one or different? Different. Different means more than one. Different means more than one. How many things are there in my hand? One or different? You said different. Different means more than one. More than one is not one. Don't say one. How many things are in my hand now? Huh? Louder. Earlier you said one. Now you are saying many. Okay. If you say many, there's a problem. I hold one ringgit in my hand. How many things are there? 2 ringgits. Right? People say that you are crazy. You're getting it? Okay. But by the way, what's the color of the ringgit? Blue. Okay. The ringgit with blue color. Ringgit with square shape. These two are one or different? Different. Which means there are 2 ringgits. Different means more, the 2 or more. 2 ringgits. If you say that you give 1 ringgit to the shopkeeper, say that I have 2 ringgits there, they will say that you're crazy. You're getting it? Okay, now how to resolve this? How many things are there in my hand? Tell me. Shape of the flowers there? Yes. Color of the flowers there? Yes. Are these one or different? Different means 2 or more. 2 or more. It should not be 1. How many things are in my hand? Again 1. What's wrong with you? Huh? Shan, what's wrong with you? Or how many things are there? Color of the flowers there in my hand? Yes. Shape is there? Yes. These two are one or different? Different. Different means 2, minimum 2 or more, right? Different means you forgot the meaning of difference. Difference means 2 or more, right? What happened going to see the Chensui temple to study and then you forgot the meaning of the difference? Difference means 2 or more. How many things are in my hand? Okay, so look, this is the dilemma. This is the paradox we cannot resolve. If you say 1, there's a problem. If you say the many, people think that you are crazy. If you say 1, it contradicts with logic. If you say money, conventional world will say you think that you are crazy. How to resolve the problem? To resolve the problem, you have to know this concept, entities and isolates. What does it mean by entities? What does it mean by isolates? Okay, so when we talk about this flower, there are 2 ways of talking about this flower. One is talking about the flower by going towards the object. The other one is talking about the flower by going towards the subject. What's the subject? Your mind. Object, the flower. One, you talk about the flower by going towards the object. When you go towards the object, you are looking for the entities. When you go towards the object, you are looking for the entities. When you go towards the subject to look for the flower, when you go towards the subject to look for the flower, you are looking for the isolates. What does it mean by isolates precisely? Still, I don't get it. This could be a question. Okay, let's say, am I correct or not? You ask me, where's the flower? I say, this is a flower. Correct or not correct? When I go to point to the flower, am I going to the object or going to the subject? Going to the object. So which means I'm looking for the isolate or I'm looking for the entities? I'm looking for the entities. Okay, where's the flower? I said it's here. Correct or not correct? Then you ask me, where's the color of the flower? I said it's here. Correct or not correct? So I point, when I go towards the object, to point to the color of the flower as well as the flower, I can point to the same object. Same object and the same object for the reference of the 2 labels. I can point to the same object for the reference of the 2 labels. The reference of 2 labels, these 2 are entity-wise 1. Entity-wise meaning going towards the object. Okay, what is entity-wise 1? Entity-wise 1 is where one can point to the same object, for the reference of the 2 or more labels. Where one can point to the same object for the reference of the two or more objects. That's the meaning of entity-wise one, entity-wise same. Okay, now tell me, Cheng Yap and Cheng Yap's mind, these two are entity-wise one or different? Huh? Or Cheng Yap and Cheng Yap's body, entity-wise one or different? One. How? You can point to the same object for this Cheng Yap, this Cheng Yap's body. So, you can point to the same object for the reference of the two labels. Label Cheng Yap's body and label Cheng Yap. Okay, this is the entity-wise one. What about the orange and apple? Two entities. Because you cannot point to one object for the reference of these two labels. You have to point to two different objects. Very good. Now isolates. For the isolates, to look for the isolates, we go where? Go towards the subject, go towards the mind, go towards the subject. How do we go towards the subject to look for the flower? Okay, for that matter, easier would be, first we'll do the easy one and then later we will do the, you can explore the more complicated ones. So easy one would be the table and the top plank of the table. The table and the top plank of the table. Okay, tell me. Okay, now we go to the subject because we're looking for the isolates. Isolates, we have to go to subject. How do we go? How do we go towards the subject? Close your eyes. Don't look at the object. We're going towards the subject. We're only going to think. We're only going to think. Think of the table. Think of the table. Okay. Now think of the top plank of the table. Think of the top plank of the table. Okay. Open your eyes and tell me, is there any difference that came to your mind? The table, top plank table, the two appeared as different or they appeared as exactly same? Okay, different. In what way different? Kim? Okay, Kim, you know, I know that you studied this. Okay, anybody else? Those who never studied this, Kim knows that, right? She'll give the correct answer, political correct answer. Okay, Anila? Yes.
One, we see the table, the whole thing, and
Yes.
one is only part of that whole thing.
Very good. So the top plank of the table means the top plank, the flat one, without the legs. Table means top plank plus the legs. So one we see the whole, one we see only a part, the top plank. So in a mind, these two appears different. You're getting it? What appears is different to a mind. What appears as different to a mind is known as isolate-wise different. For example, the table and the top plank of the table. These two are isolate-wise different. Okay. Now I'll give you some exercises and you tell me. The house, this house, and this house, and the floor of this house, entity-wise one is different. This house, this building, and the floor of this building, entity-wise one is different. Entity-wise one. I'm saying this building and the floor of this building, entity-wise one is different. Wow, there you become more confident. Thank you. Okay. This building and the floor of this building, isolate-wise one is different. How? William, you want to say?
One is a building and one is just it's different isolates.
How different? I said, how different isolate? You have different isolate.
So one, the building comes to your mind, but the other one is just the ground comes to your mind.
Okay, one, the whole building comes to your mind. The floor, just the floor comes to mind without the other parts of the building. Very good. Okay, so these two are isolate-wise different, entity-wise same. Okay, now I'll give you the other exercises. For example, the flower and the color of the flower, entity-wise one different. Hey, louder, louder. Flower and the color of the flower, entity-wise one is different. One, isolate-wise one different. Okay, good. Then the house and the kangba, entity-wise one is different. Entity-wise one different. House and kangba. house and kangba. I do not say karma. People say the house and karma. No, I do not say karma. I said house and kangba. Andrew was one different. Quick. Huh? Okay. Kangba, is it the Tibetan word for house? Yes. Okay, Kangba and the house, and it was one different. Isolated was one different. Huh? Kangba and the house. Isolated was one different. Huh? Okay. How to check if they don't think of, I want different. It's very simple. I already gave you the clue, right? What is meant? The isolated was one different. You already know how to check isolated was one different. Okay, think of the isolated, think of the Kangba. Quick. Think of Kangba. Think of Kangba. Now think of house. Okay, they appear different or same? One English house, other Tibetan house. No, it's the same, right? English house also house, Tibetan house also house. Tibetan house also Kangba, English house also Kangba, right? It's the same thing come to your mind. So these two are isolated-wise? Same. Very good. Okay. So why we are going through all these things? Huh? Okay, why we went through this isolated entities? I forgot. Okay, we stop here.